In the grand ballroom of the University Club of Chicago, crystal chandeliers cast a golden glow over hundreds of elegantly dressed guests. The air smelled of white roses and expensive perfume as the officiant smiled at the couple standing before him. Sophia Bennett, in her custom ivory gown that hugged her slender frame, felt her hands tremble inside Michael's steady grip. She had rehearsed this moment for months, telling herself it was the right path. Then the heavy oak doors at the back flew open with a bang that echoed like a gunshot. A small figure in a frilly pink dress sprinted down the long aisle, pigtails bouncing. "Please marry my aunt," the little girl cried, her voice high and desperate, cutting through the stunned silence. Every head turned. Sophia's heart slammed against her ribs. She already knew this was coming, but the reality hit harder than she had imagined. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Michael Harrington, tall and polished in his black tuxedo, froze mid-smile. "Lily," he muttered, recognizing the child. Sophia's mother, seated in the front row in her pearl necklace and designer suit, clutched her husband's arm. "What in God's name?" The officiant fumbled his book. Security hesitated, unsure whether to intervene with the child. Lily stopped right at the altar steps, cheeks flushed, eyes locked on Sophia. "Please, Auntie Sophia. Marry my Aunt Rachel instead. You love her. I know you do." The words hung in the air like smoke. Whispers exploded into murmurs. A few phones came out, recording discreetly. Sophia felt the blood drain from her face. Rachel Thompson, her Rachel, sat somewhere in the middle rows, invited as a longtime family friend. Their eyes met across the sea of shocked faces for one electric second. Rachel's expression was a mix of horror and raw hope. Sophia had spent 4 years building walls around their secret, convincing herself the love they shared in stolen nights and quiet weekends could stay hidden forever. She was supposed to marry Michael today, the successful investment banker her parents had handpicked. The match that would secure her place in Chicago's old money circles. The safe, expected choice. But Lily knew. The 7-year-old niece of Rachel's, who had spent countless weekends at Rachel's modern loft in Lincoln Park, had seen too much. The way Sophia and Rachel looked at each other when they thought no one was watching. The gentle touches when they cooked dinner together. The way they laughed until they cried over nothing. Lily had once asked Rachel outright why they couldn't all live in the same house like a real family. Rachel had hushed her, but the seed was planted. Chaos erupted. Michael's best man tried to guide Lily away gently, but she planted her small feet and refused. "No, you can't marry him. It will make you sad forever." Sophia's father stood up, face reddening. "This is outrageous. Someone remove that child." But Lily's mother, Claire, Rachel's older sister, rushed forward from her seat, mortified. "Lily, honey, come here right now." The little girl shook her head, tears starting. "But Mommy, Auntie Sophia is supposed to be with Aunt Rachel. They kiss when they think I'm asleep." The murmur turned into a roar. Sophia felt the room spin. She had known Lily might say something someday. The child was too perceptive, too honest. In the weeks leading up to the wedding, Lily had grown quieter around Michael, asking pointed questions about why Sophia was leaving Rachel behind. Sophia had dodged them, telling herself children forget. She was wrong. Security finally stepped in, but not before the damage was done. The officiant announced a brief pause. Guests were ushered toward the cocktail hour area, while the wedding party was hurried into a private side salon overlooking Michigan Avenue. Sophia's legs felt like lead as she walked, Michael's hand on her elbow now tense instead of supportive. In the salon, heavy drapes muffled the noise from outside, but the tension inside was thicker than the carpet. Michael turned to her the moment the door closed. "Sophia, what the hell was that?" His voice cracked with confusion more than anger yet. Lily clung to her mother's leg, still sniffling. Rachel slipped in through a side door a moment later, her dark hair slightly disheveled, eyes red-rimmed. She looked at Sophia with a pain that cut deeper than any words. Sophia sank into a velvet chair, the weight of years pressing down. She remembered the night they met 5 years ago at a charity gala for the Art Institute. Rachel, an up-and-coming architect with sharp wit and kind eyes, had challenged Sophia's safe corporate worldview over cocktails. Their conversation stretched until the event ended. One coffee turned into dinners, then late-night talks. Then the first tentative kiss in Rachel's car outside Sophia's apartment. That felt like coming home. But Sophia came from a world where appearances mattered more than truth. Her parents, pillars of the conservative social scene, had made it clear. A good marriage to a man like Michael was the only acceptable future. A lesbian daughter? Unthinkable. It would tarnish the family name, the law firm her father built, the circles they moved in. So Sophia hid. She dated men publicly while loving Rachel in private. The guilt ate at her, but the fear of losing everything, family, career stability, the life she knew, kept her silent. When Michael proposed last year at a rooftop dinner with fireworks over the lake, she said yes because refusing would force the truth into the open. Rachel had begged her not to go through with it, but Sophia chose the easier lie. Now the lie was exploding in the most public way possible. Lily looked up at her with those big innocent eyes. You promised you'd be happy, Auntie Sophia. Marrying him won't make you happy. Sophia closed her eyes, tears slipping free for the first time that day. The price of her choices was no longer theoretical. It was standing right in front of her in a pink dress, demanding the truth she had buried for years. Outside, the guests waited. Inside, everything she had built was crumbling, and she had no idea how to stop it, or if she even wanted to anymore. The private salon felt too small for the storm brewing inside it. Michael's face had gone from confusion to betrayal in seconds. Rachel? Your aunt. He looked between Sophia and Rachel as if seeing them for the first time. How long has this been going on? Rachel stood near the window, arms crossed tightly over her chest, trying to hold herself together. Michael, it's not what you think. But it was exactly what he thought, and everyone in the room knew it. Lily tugged on Sophia's gown. I saw you and Aunt Rachel hugging in the kitchen last summer. You said you loved her more than anyone. Why are you marrying him instead? The child's honesty was brutal in its purity. Claire, Lily's mother, knelt down and tried to quiet her daughter, but the damage was irreversible. Sophia's mother, Eleanor Bennett, pressed a hand to her chest as if she might faint. This cannot be happening. Sophia, tell me this is some misunderstanding. A child's fantasy. Her voice shook with the kind of controlled fury only years of maintaining perfect appearances could produce. Sophia looked at the people she loved and the people she feared disappointing most. Her father, Richard, stood rigid by the door, jaw clenched. He had always been proud of his only daughter, the Harvard law graduate, the rising star at the firm. Now that pride was cracking. We raised you better than this, he said quietly, but the words landed like stones. Michael paced, running a hand through his hair. I thought we had something real, sophomore. I ignored the late nights, the way you'd get quiet when Rachel's name came up. I told myself it was nothing. But this. He stopped in front of her. Were you ever going to tell me? The question pierced Sophia's chest. She had rehearsed 1,000 versions of the truth in her head during sleepless nights, but none of them prepared her for saying it out loud in front of everyone. I love you, Michael. In my own way. But Rachel. Her voice broke. Rachel is the one who makes me feel alive. I've tried so hard to be what everyone expects. The perfect daughter. The perfect fiancée. But every time I picture the rest of my life, it's with her. Rachel stepped closer, her eyes shining. I begged you not to do this, Sophia. I said I'd wait forever if I had to. But watching you walk down that aisle today. She swallowed hard. It felt like dying. The raw emotion in Rachel's voice made Lily reach for her aunt's hand. The little girl looked between them with a small, hopeful smile, as if this was all going to work out like a fairy tale. Eleanor wasn't having any of it. Enough. This is a family matter, and we will handle it privately. The guests are waiting. We will announce a delay due to an illness in the family or something. Michael, I'm so sorry. We will make this right. She turned to Sophia with steel in her eyes. You will not throw away everything we've built for some phase. Do you understand what this would do to us? The whispers at the club? The partners at the firm? Your career. Sophia felt the familiar weight of expectation crushing her. Her parents had never said the words lesbian or gay in their home except in disapproving tones about distant relatives or news stories. They believed in duty, legacy, and keeping up appearances above all. Coming out would mean losing the financial safety net, the family holidays, the approval that had defined her life. But looking at Rachel now, seeing the quiet strength that had carried them through 4 years of secrecy, Sophia felt something shift inside her. A crack in the armor she had worn for so long. Michael exhaled sharply. "I need air." He left the room without another word, shoulders slumped. The door clicked shut behind him, leaving a heavy silence. Claire spoke softly to Lily, leading her to a couch with a coloring book to distract her. "This is a lot for a little girl to carry," Claire said to no one in particular. "She adores both of you. She's been talking about you two getting married for months." Rachel met Sophia's gaze across the room. In that look was every stolen weekend in Door County, every whispered promise in the dark, every tear shed over the phone when Sophia canceled plans to attend another family function with Michael. "I can't keep doing this," Rachel whispered. "Hiding, waiting, watching you choose them over us." Sophia reached for her hand, but Rachel pulled back slightly. The small rejection hurt more than any shouting could. Outside, the murmur of guests grew louder. Phones were buzzing, word was spreading. In Chicago's tight social circles, scandals traveled faster than light. Sophia's carefully constructed life was unraveling in real time, and the only person who had ever made her feel truly seen was asking her to finally choose. As the afternoon light slanted through the windows, Sophia realized the interruption wasn't the end. It was only the beginning of a much longer, more painful reckoning. The little girl's plea had forced open a door she had spent years trying to keep locked. Now she had to decide whether to walk through it or slam it shut forever, and live with the consequences either way. By evening, the wedding that never happened had become the talk of Chicago's elite. Guests who had been ushered to the cocktail reception posted carefully worded stories on social media. Unexpected family emergency at the Bennett-Harrington wedding. But the truth leaked anyway. Whispers in the powder rooms turned into texts between friends. By the time Sophia left the university club in a private car, her phone was exploding with messages from colleagues, cousins, and old classmates. Some offered support. Most asked variations of the same shocked question. Is it true? She went home to her sleek apartment in the Gold Coast, the one she had planned to share with Michael after the honeymoon in Italy. The silence there felt accusing. Rachel had gone back to her loft with Lily and Claire, promising to talk tomorrow. "We need space to think," Rachel had said. But her eyes said she was terrified Sophia would retreat into the safety of denial again. The next morning, Sophia's parents summoned her to their Lake Forest estate. The drive north along the lake gave her too much time to think. She replayed every moment of the previous day. Lily's small voice, Michael's hurt, her mother's disappointment, Rachel's pain. When she arrived, the house staff moved quietly, sensing the tension. Her father waited in his study, surrounded by leather-bound books and family portraits that showed generations of Bennetts who had always done what was expected. "Your mother is upstairs resting," he said without preamble. "She didn't sleep. Neither did I. Do you have any idea what you've done to this family?" He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. The quiet disappointment was worse. Sophia sat across from him, still in the clothes from yesterday. "Dad, I never meant for it to come out like this. But I can't marry Michael. It wouldn't be fair to him or to me." He leaned forward. "Fair? Life isn't about fair, Sophia. It's about responsibility. Your mother and I have given you every advantage. The best schools. The best opportunities. And this is how you repay us? By embarrassing us in front of everyone we know? People are already talking. The firm has partners calling. What do you think this does to your career? To our standing?" He paused, eyes hard. "If you go through with this lifestyle, we cannot support it. Financially or otherwise." The threat was clear. The trust fund, the connections, the family name, everything could vanish. Sophia felt the familiar panic rise, the same fear that had kept her silent for years. But underneath it, something new was growing. A quiet anger at the cage she had accepted for so long. "I love Rachel," she said, the words feeling both terrifying and freeing. "I've loved her for years. Pretending otherwise has been killing me slowly." Her mother appeared in the doorway then, eyes swollen. "Love? This isn't love, darling. This is confusion. A phase. We've all had doubts before marriage. You'll see. Once the wedding is rescheduled and you two get away on that honeymoon, you'll forget all this nonsense." Eleanor crossed the room and took Sophia's hands. "Think of the children you could have with Michael. A real family. Not Whatever this is. The word stung with casual prejudice. Sophia pulled her hands away gently. This isn't a phase, Mom. This is who I am. The conversation spiraled from there. Tears, accusations, pleas. By the time she left, nothing was resolved. Her parents made it clear. Choose the family or choose Rachel. There was no middle ground. That afternoon, Sophia met Rachel at a quiet cafe near the lakefront, away from prying eyes. The October wind whipped the water into whitecaps as they sat on a bench, coats pulled tight. Lily was with Claire for the day, giving them space. Rachel looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. I almost didn't come, she admitted. Part of me wanted to pack up and leave town. Start over somewhere no one knows us. Sophia reached for her hand, and this time Rachel let her take it. I don't want to lose you, but I don't know how to do this without destroying everyone else. They talked for hours. About the betrayals, Sophia's for getting engaged, Rachel's for not pushing harder to go public sooner. About Lily, who had cried herself to sleep asking if the wedding meant she would never see Sophia again. About the moral weight of their choices. Was personal happiness worth the pain they were causing Michael, their families, even Lily's innocent worldview? As the sun set, painting the skyline orange, Rachel turned to her. I can't force you, Sophia, but if you choose me, it has to be all the way. No more hiding. No more half-lives. I deserve that. We deserve that. Sophia nodded, throat tight. The decision was crystallizing, but the cost was becoming terrifyingly real. That night, alone again, she lay awake staring at the ceiling. The little girl's plea had started a chain reaction she could no longer control. The question was no longer whether she loved Rachel. It was whether she was strong enough to live that love in the open, and what pieces of her old life would be left when the dust settled. The scandal refused to die quietly. By the middle of the week, a gossip blog had picked up the story, naming names without confirmation. Heiress lawyer's wedding crashed by child's bombshell plea, secret same-sex romance suspected. Sophia's inbox filled with interview requests and concerned messages from clients. At the firm, partners pulled her aside for private conversations about maintaining professionalism. The pressure was suffocating. Michael asked to meet at a neutral spot, a small park in Lincoln Park. He looked thinner, eyes hollow. They walked the paths where they had once planned their future. I loved you, Sophia. Maybe I still do in some way. But I can't marry someone who was never fully mine. He stopped by the conservatory, hands in his pockets. I suspected something. The way you lit up when she was around. I told myself it was just close friendship. I was a fool. His voice cracked. But the worst part is I think you were a fool too, for thinking you could live two lives. His words landed like blows. Sophia apologized through tears, but apologies felt hollow against the hurt she had caused. Michael wished her well, but the finality in his goodbye left her gutted. That evening, a family dinner at her parents' house turned into an ambush. Cousins and uncle, even her grandmother, were there. The conversation started civil but quickly turned. Think of the example you're setting for the younger girls in the family, one cousin said. Another mentioned lifestyle choices and what God intended. The casual prejudice wrapped in concern made Sophia's stomach turn. Then the betrayal came from within. Her cousin Jessica pulled her aside later. I knew about you and Rachel. Saw you together at that gallery opening last year. I told your mom. She asked me to keep quiet, said it would pass. We thought the wedding would fix it. Jessica shrugged. We were trying to protect you. Protect the family. The revelation hit like a slap. Even her own blood had known and chosen silence over honesty, all in the name of reputation. That night, Sophia drove to Rachel's loft unannounced. Lily was already in bed, but Rachel answered the door in sweatpants, surprised. They sat on the couch, the same one where they had shared so many secret nights. Sophia told her everything. The threats from her parents, Michael's pain, the cousin's confession. I feel like I've been living in a prison I built myself, she said. And now the walls are closing in. Rachel listened, then pulled her close. You've paid enough, Sophia. The hiding, the guilt, the fear. But I can't watch you destroy yourself anymore. If you choose us, we face it together. The family fallout, the gossip, the financial hits. All of it. They stayed up talking until dawn, mapping out the hard choices ahead. giving up the family support, possibly leaving the firm, starting over in a smaller life but one that was honest. The next day brought more awakening. Sophia visited a therapist recommended by a colleague who had come out years earlier. In that safe office, she unpacked years of internalized shame, the pressure to be the perfect daughter, the terror of being different in a world that still whispered about people like her. "You've been surviving," the therapist said. "Now it's time to start living." By the end of the week, Sophia knew what she had to do. The little girl's plea had forced her to see the truth she had been running from. The cost was high: relationship strained, reputation damaged, security threatened. But the alternative was a lifetime of regret. She was ready to pay the price. Sophia called off the wedding officially on a crisp Friday morning. The statement was short and released through her lawyer. Personal reasons, mutual decision with Michael, gratitude for understanding. The media frenzy peaked, then slowly moved on to the next scandal. But in their circles, the fallout lingered. Her parents stopped taking her calls for weeks. Some friends distanced themselves. The firm offered her a leave of absence that felt more like a gentle push out the door. Through it all, Rachel was her anchor. They moved in together quietly in Rachel's loft, making space for Lily on weekends. The little girl was overjoyed, chattering about finally being a real family, and drawing pictures of the three of them holding hands. Her innocence healed some of the wounds. Claire, Rachel's sister, became an unlikely ally, helping navigate the practicalities and offering quiet support. The hardest moments came in the confrontations that followed. A tense dinner with Sophia's parents where her father finally spoke the words she had dreaded. "If this is the life you choose, we cannot be part of it right now." Her mother cried, but there was a flicker of reluctant understanding in her eyes. "I just wanted you to be safe," she whispered before they left. It wasn't acceptance, but it wasn't total rejection either. Time, Sophia hoped, might bridge the rest. Michael eventually found someone new, and Sophia was genuinely happy for him when she heard the news through mutual friends. The guilt didn't vanish overnight, but it softened into a lesson about honesty. 6 months later, Sophia and Rachel stood on the shore of Lake Michigan at sunset, Lily skipping stones nearby. They had exchanged simple rings in a small private ceremony with only their closest supporters, Claire, a few true friends, no big ballroom or society page coverage. It wasn't the wedding Sophia had once planned, but it was real. Authentic. There. Sophia had left the family firm and started her own small practice focused on family law, helping others navigate the same kinds of pressures she had faced. The financial hit was real, but the freedom was worth more than any trust fund. Rachel's architecture career flourished with new passion now that she no longer carried the weight of secrecy. As they watched Lily laugh, chasing waves, Sophia turned to Rachel. "I almost lost everything, but I found myself." Rachel smiled, the same smile that had captured her heart years ago. "We both did." The road ahead wasn't perfect. Family gatherings were still awkward. Old acquaintances sometimes stared or whispered, but the love between them had grown stronger through the fire. Lily had taught them the most important lesson. Children see the truth adults try to hide, and sometimes the bravest thing is to listen. In the end, was Sophia right to choose love over duty and social approval, even though it shattered so many expectations and hurt people she cared about? Or did the price she paid prove that some secrets are better left unspoken? The answer, like so many truths in life, remains fiercely debated.